What's up, Wolfpack, and welcome back to another strategy gaming video. And if you're new, welcome to you too. I am 𝐒𝐓𝐿, and today we're playing some more of, you guessed it, the Riftbreaker. And so today is special because it is the last time I get to play on my gaming rig before I leave for Costa Rica. I am literally departing in T-minus less than 12 hours, or give or take, and we are departing out of here, gone. And so what that means, I am literally in my mother's parents' basement right now. In fact, I am in the bedroom that I grew up in high school and all that other kind of fun stuff. It's a bit of a shit show, but I put it together, made it happen. Here we are, right? So we're trying to get our last video out before we hasta luego into the pura vida lifestyle. So today I wanted to show you a little bit more about base layout. And so obviously this is late game. In fact, I literally just finished the secret ending to the game. If you don't know about it, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but there are more than one ending to the game. And so this is sort of my headquarters layout right now. So in a nutshell, you'll see diverting off into areas to acquire sort of what I call forward bases. And these are forward bases because of where the spawns go, and as a result, where they funnel, and so on and so forth, right? So there's kind of like strategic locations that'll harvest, you know, carbonium, ironium, all that kind of stuff. What's fun is that all the things then in the center, I basically don't have to ever worry about building any kind of defenses around it because everything's going to funnel to my forward bases along the edge of the map. So going for the edge of the map is always going to be good. But I want to talk early game. So early game, and this is specific to campaign, but can also be relevant to survival. The number one priority, the number one thing that will determine what your layout will be, is pools, right? Pools. So sludge pools and mud pools. It's by far the most important thing because carbonium depots, ironium depots, any of the resources that you'll find on the ground, they're all scarce. They all will disappear. So where they are does not really matter, other than at least having one or two carbonium and ironium in the beginning. Obviously, that's important. But other than that, don't build your base around a freaking ironium deposit. It just doesn't make sense. So in this case, for example, as usual, you'll start with some wind turbines, you know, storage, armory, research center. Like this is your basic start out, is this little sort of circle of things you're going to build out. But what's important is I knew I had a mud pool here. And as a result, I created a path ahead of time so that if it were to be the case that I was going to come this way with it, I would have space to build in pipes. Now, in this run, I didn't do that. But again, I made this space here in case I was going to pull over to the right. I made this space down here, and basically just, I mean, over here is way built out. We're late game now. But the reality is I had originally also had a lane through here. So the point is one of the main things, the main thing you want to pay attention to when starting out your base and thinking about your layout is where are my pools, and therefore where's my piping going to go for things like gas power and cultivators and such. Now, gas power I'd say is the most important thing, but again, see, look, so I'm doing single lanes here. So just between, the simple habit is between any one thing, make a single lane. So between my AI cores and my batteries, I have a single lane. Between my batteries and my wind storage, I have a single lane. So just build single lanes between each block. It's aesthetically pleasing, but it also makes sense for that piping that you will eventually need. Now, speaking in terms of campaign, you definitely do want to realize the fact that it's going to go very late game, and you are going to not necessarily need, again, it depends how you play the campaign, but if you want to play it in sort of a resource gathering abundant way where you want to have like most of the tech tree researched and so on and so forth, it's actually so much alien I haven't gotten, then you got to think about your cultivator build out. And I've made mine quite extensive. As you can see here, these are all the drones hustling and bustling, getting me what I need. So that's a big thing to keep in mind. Because I had this monster mud pool, I was very preemptive in knowing that I was going to make a huge field for my cultivators and my, what are they called, harvesting stations. Right, so these cultivators here, they're planting this so I can get tanzanite, biomass, and carbonium. Awesome. These ones here are planting ironium, palladium, carbonium, and biomass. Amazing. So most of them plant biomass to be able to support my gas power, but nonetheless, you know, actually I've also got these ones that supply uranium. No, not these ones. Where are you? Here you go. Yeah, so these give me the uranium, so I can also have my nuclear power, right? So you want to make this self-sustaining cycle. all based off of your cultivators. And then later game, I created this here where I was able to get things like ironium and biomass, nothing special there. I was getting, more importantly, here we go. So rhodonite, right? That was a big one that I was wanting to needing. Fertinite was another one that I started to plant, I think. Yeah, here we go. So fertinite. So that's by far the best way to farm yourself. What you need is to just make sure you get enough familiarity that you can plant them out and then just create huge infrastructures of cultivators and harvesters. Personally, I put down about 3-4 harvesters per cultivator. These are all tier 3 as well. And so those are pretty much the main things you want to think about. Where are your pools, and as a result, where is your pipe pathing going to be? Where are you going to do all your cultivating and your cultivators, and make sure that you're able to create the space near the pool. So again, I had a huge mud pool here, so I could keep going for another 2 times all of this quite easily. And I was even, you know, I had the chance to expand into here if I wanted. But now that's for cultivators. Again, there's also the whole build out for building your gas power based off of mud. Right, so all of this is a build out due to going from mud. And let me just change the time of day here so we can see better. So see, this is a crap ton of biocomposters because they only require, I believe, 10 water, yeah, each. And so I'm able to generate a lot of flammable gas from them, which I then funnel down all the way to my gas power plants. So it funnels down all these single paths that I had pre-made, and then boom, goes to all my gas power plants. So these are the things you want to think about. Is like, okay, I know I'm going to end up with probably a lot of gas power plants until I eventually get into nuclear and or fusion power. And that's pretty much the entirety of your base layout. There's not a lot more complexity to that. Personally, I like to keep my research centers all together and as close as possible to my headquarters, as that's typically the hardest place to get to, and I don't want to risk losing them, right? And then that's about it. There's really not much else. The only other thing that a lot of people don't really consider is it's not just OCD to line things up properly. It helps you run through things and dash through things a lot faster. Right, so I would say it's actually pretty important to make sure you're lining up all of your buildings properly so that you're able to get through them fast. If you have to, say, you know, teleport right here and get into somewhere else, it needs to be immediate, right? So I'd say that that's pretty much it. Again, this is my base, right? So down here I've got more solar and my gas kind of thing and my wind. I've got a crap ton of wind and solar because there's not much value in me getting rid of them. The only reason I get rid of solar and wind is to make space. So all this here used to be wind power, but it was obviously much more valuable to me to convert this into using the space for creating flammable gas, such that I can power my gas power plants. So again, don't stress about that. Personally, for me, it's like if I need space, expand. This is a game where you can get very aggressive and very greedy, especially in campaign. Survival is a little bit more difficult for sure, but being aggressive, expansive, and greedy is extremely, extremely powerful. You can get a huge lead and start to gather resources at an insane rate. Right now, I'm almost 200 carbonium and ironium, give or take, and I mean, that speaks for itself, right? Like, I'm very, very abundant right now, 68,000. Any place I go to land, if I wanted to, you know, I could start a new base completely easily. I'm not even at the moment harvesting fertinite because I get enough just from my fertinite plants. I'll show you guys real quick. So I'm at 86,000 fertinite. I don't have a fertinite mining location at all. So that's pretty much it for this one. Trying to make this one quicker. This is the last video before I leave to Costa Rica, so I'll have to figure out another way to make some content for you guys. But basically, at the end of the day, like I said, layout is generally simple. You got to think about your pools. You got to think about like your mud pools and your sludge pools. You got to think about where your gas power is going to be as a result. You got to think about where your cultivators are going to be planting and so on. And that's pretty much the gist of it, right? It doesn't get much more than that. Other than that, it's what the map has for you. It's an RNG type game, which is fantastic, and that's really what it's about. Now, if you were looking for something to do with, like, because this was base layout specifically, I do have another video on tower layout. Make sure to go check that out. And then I also have a video on I have another video on guns, mods, and pew-pews, and then another video on how to actually set up your gas power and your fusion power. So go ahead to my channel, make sure you check out those videos, and if you happen to enjoy this one, drop a like. If you want to see other videos coming out, which I'll have to figure out how I pull that one off, then of course subscribe. But otherwise, I appreciate your time, appreciate your attention, and please drop a comment with any suggestions, thoughts, concerns, questions, all the things. I am responding to every single one of them, even though there's literally like 200, which is pretty awesome. I am there and I'm answering. So, 𝐶ALphaWolf, signing off.